So here's a big question for you. Is the human population a runaway train, or are we heading for some kind of natural balance? It's a huge topic, right? Well, to even start to wrap our heads around it, we've got to begin with just one number. And that number is 7.9 billion. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That's roughly how many of us are sharing this planet right now. It's just a massive figure. And when you see a number like that, you can't help but ask, how on earth did one single species manage to take over an entire planet? How did we do it? And you know what? The answer is actually, it's surprisingly simple. Yeah, believe it or not, it all comes down to two simple curves. These two curves basically explain the rules of life for everything on this planet. I mean, from a tiny bacterium all the way up to a blue whale. And if we can understand them, well, we can start to understand ourselves. All right, so let's dive in. Let's look at the rules of the game, these two fundamental paths for growth. Okay, first up, we've got what's called exponential growth. This is the boom scenario. Just picture it. A population with absolutely nothing holding it back. Unlimited food, endless space, no predators. It's just pure pedal-to-the-metal growth. And this is what that looks like. It's called a J-curve for a pretty obvious reason, right? The line just goes whoosh, straight up. The population absolutely skyrockets. And that's because the growth rate itself is accelerating. It's this wild feedback loop. More individuals mean an even faster rate of making, well, even more individuals. But okay, let's be real. In the real world, there's no such thing as unlimited resources, right? And that brings us to our second model, logistic growth. You can think of this one as the balance. This is what happens when reality starts to bite back and those environmental limits kick in. Now check this out. It's an S-shaped curve. See how it starts off looking just like that J-curve, all fast and explosive? But then it starts to slow down, and eventually it just levels off. That flat line at the top, that ceiling it hits, that's what scientists call the carrying capacity, or K for short. It's basically the maximum number of individuals that an environment can realistically support long-term. So here's the bottom line. The J-curve? That's unlimited potential. It's the dream. The S-curve? That's real life with real-world limits. One is a fantasy world with no rules, and the other is a world where every single ecosystem has a breaking point. Okay, so if those are the rules of the game, how do different species play to win? Well, it turns out nature has come up with two main strategies. And it really just boils down to a classic choice. Do you go for quantity or do you go for quality? And this table lays it all out. On one side, you've got your R-selected species. These are the opportunists. Think bacteria, insects, dandelions. Their strategy is live fast, die young. They have tons and tons of offspring and basically zero parental care. Then, on the other side, you've got your K-selected species. These are the strategists. Think elephants, whales, us. They live for a really long time, have just a few kids, and pour a massive amount of energy into raising them. You know, I absolutely love this analogy. It makes it so clear. The R strategists, they're like ramen noodles. Super cheap, super fast, and you can make a ton of them. The K strategists, they're like fancy handmade ravioli. Each one takes a ton of time and effort, and the investment in each one is just huge. And you can see the results of these two strategies right here. Look at that steep drop-off for the R strategists. That's a type 3 curve. Most of their babies die really, really young. But then look at the K strategists. That's a type 1 curve. Almost all of them make it to old age. And why? Well, it's all because of that huge parental investment. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. This brings us to the big paradox of our own species. Because when you look at us, we seem like the textbook definition of a K strategist. But our population graph? It tells a completely different story. So what do you think? Based on everything we've talked about, which strategy do we follow? Are we the ramen or are we the ravioli? I mean, it seems pretty obvious, doesn't it? We live for a long time, we take forever to grow up, we have very few kids, and the amount of time and energy we pour into them is just staggering. By every possible metric, we are the ultimate K strategist. And yet, look at this. This is our population graph. That is a classic, unmistakable J-curve. So we've got the life strategy of a K species, but the population boom of an R species. What is going on here? How is that even possible? Well, what happened is we hacked the system. We completely changed the rules of the game. We just kept raising our own carrying capacity over and over again. First, we figured out agriculture, so we can make way more food. Then came modern medicine, which let us beat back diseases and live way longer. And then we figured out sanitation, which stopped so many people from dying young. We basically removed the limits. So our own cleverness has let us blow right past the natural limits that keep every other case strategist in check. But that success raises a really important and kind of scary question. What is our carrying capacity now? Does it even exist? A really good way to think about this is something called our ecological footprint. And it's not just about the physical space we take up. It's a way to measure all the resources, all the land, all the water, all the energy that each one of us uses just to live our lives. And having such a huge footprint, well, it has some serious unintended side effects. Take this concept, biomagnification. Basically, when we release certain toxins into the environment, they don't just go away. They build up in the food chain. So a little bit in the plankton becomes more in the small fish, even more in the big fish, and then it becomes dangerously concentrated in the top predators, which, a lot of the time, is us. And this chart, wow, it really shows the kind of pressure our population is putting on the planet. Our numbers, combined with how much stuff we use, are the main drivers behind habitat loss, overfishing, pollution, pretty much all the big things causing the biodiversity crisis we're seeing today. So, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. For centuries, all of our amazing human ingenuity has been focused on one thing: pushing our limits, raising that carrying capacity. The big question for us, for our time, is can we now use that same incredible ingenuity to consciously choose our limits? Can we decide to create a sustainable balance, not just for us, but for every other living thing on this planet?